So I wanted to do an assignment video summary. This kind of explains what we're doing for this assignment. As my time allows, I'm trying to go through all the modules and add these. If you don't see one, that means I didn't get a chance to get to it. But if you're really stuck and you need something, please let me know. So let's get into this first one. So this is what I call exchanging ethics. Basically, it's a discussion board. This is a spot for you to be a little more informal. There's not a word count, there's not a paragraph or page count. This is just you giving us quality opinion over quantity opinion, if that makes sense. So the first one is going to be exchanging ethics. Ethics are not emotions. So I'm going to give you some terms to look over, and then you're going to read a couple of things, and you're going to do option A or option B as you get going. So I'm going to explain a little bit of the materials. I'm going to go over the prompt, and then I'm going to explain to you how to do your reply. For the materials, what I have here is a small YouTube short that's about 3 minutes that's going to talk about how ethics are not emotions. Just give it a quick look through. And then this part of the module is going to mainly deal with this chapter of the book. You don't need to read the entire book, or the entire chapter, but you could definitely pull out some sections of the chapter that are going to help um, round out what you're thinking. So definitely give it a good look over to see if anything in there is going to be useful with what you have. All right, so let's talk about the explain part. This is your initial post that you're going to do. You have three parts. Please try to reply with these so we can follow along with your thought process. Try to refrain from doing just massive blocks of text. When it comes to this type of stuff, always try to separate it with bullets and bold so we could kind of follow your thought process along because we're all going to need it for the reply. So you have three parts, normative and descriptive. I go over in um, the slides and in the textbook. Sorry, I go over that in the textbook of what those are. Normative and descriptive ethics are two types of ethics, and you are doing one of them all of the time. So it's asking you which ones do you use? Real quick, long story short, normative is very strict. It is the norm. It is something that can be very universal. It has a set guideline of what something is and why. Descriptive is more casual and it could change from culture to culture to culture. When you're talking to someone in a descriptive manner, you're just listening, no judgment, and you're not trying to correct them in any way. Where normative, you're like, that's not the exact ingredients to that cake. Whereas here, descriptive, you're like, that cake might taste awesome. We'll see. So you can see the difference in the tone. So you'll just look over those 2. So they want you to know those because as you get into your ethical dilemmas, there's going to be times when you're talking in a very normative manner, and that ain't the case. We're here to talk about something descriptive. We're just here to observe. So it wants you to be able to shift your brain as needed depending on what they are. All right. So here it talks about the video. Um, Please respond to any of his questions. So he's going to ask you a handful of questions in here. Just respond to which ones, not all of them, and what kind of pinged you like, I could comment on that. He was 100% correct, or that boy was smoking something that is completely wrong. And just justify your responses. And then applying ethics. Here, you're going to talk about A or B. So these ones are going to be maybe distressing for some. This is your first ethical issue. This is gonna put you kind of time travel. It's gonna put you back into the 70s and the 80s here in the United States, and it's how we dealt with those who had, mental challenges that were biological, and it was usually outside the scope of what a parent who had never encountered such issues could handle, and they were usually given into the care of the state or to a hospital. It's famously called insane asylums. That's a very dated and archaic type of way of describing it, but that is what it was called at the time. And putting your children in the asylum was very common back then. And usually absolved the parents of any responsibility towards the child. Fast forward to 2020s, and that's not the case anymore. We're leading into an area where it is the parent's responsibility to handle these complex issues. So that's what this one is going to talk about right here. You can use A or B. Sometimes students use both. It's totally up to you. All right, for the reply. For these types of assignments, I'm gonna guide you in your, because I don't want us to waste time. I know we could all agree with each other all day, and if I'm at a coffee shop, sure, I agree with you, whatever. But that's not very helpful. I really want us to step outside of our echo chamber. I'm sure we think our opinions are great because if not, we wouldn't have them. But one of the biggest points of philosophy, especially in an ethics class, is to deconstruct your own opinion to make sure it is clear to you and you understand how you got to your opinion and what your opinion means and the impact and influence of your opinion. So basically, we want to look at everybody's initial reply and we want to deconstruct it a little bit. So your replies are always going to be in two parts, part A and part B. And then you're going to add this signature block to the bottom of your reply. And what here is you're assessing them and you're going to give them some critical feedback. Like, hey, you circled around what it was, but you didn't quite land the plane. This is how you could do that. Or, hey, you were really strong up here. It was concise. It was like an assassin took out a target. Here, not so much. So this is what this area is for you to help them improve on how to articulate what they're trying to express. So you will do part A and part B, and then you will paste this underneath. All right, if you guys have any questions, please let me know. I will try to whip these videos out on all of the assignments as time permits. As I speak right now, it is pretty early in the morning before class. So let me know if there's one missing that you really needed, or if there's a topic that you would love a video to go with. So, all right, have fun, guys. I'll see you on the board.